Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Shakia, and in this video I'm going to be giving you some tips and what I used in order to help me organize my apartment search. And I'm going to give you guys what you should look for when you're looking for your first place, the main things that you need to note in order to help with your apartment search so you can narrow down the best place for you. Because this is something that I use during my apartment search. And the thing is, when you're searching for whether it's your first place or just a place in general, you're gonna have to go through a couple of different options. Most likely 9 times out of 10, you're probably not just gonna look at one apartment when you're searching through apartments. It's gonna be at least 4 to 5, upwards of who knows how many, 10, 15 apartments that you may be looking at that you're interested in. So this is going to help you organize that search so you can keep track of what apartment offers what, how much this apartment is compared to that, and you can keep track of all those items. Because it is hard to keep track and to reference different apartments when you're looking. A hard time remembering,
oh wait, which apartment had this much rent, or which apartment said they accepted pets, and which ones that they didn't. How much was the security deposit for this
one? When you're trying to narrow it down just in your head, it can get very confusing. There's just too many things at once that you would have to remember when you're looking through 4, 5, 6 different apartments. Alright guys, so how I kept track of the places that I was looking at is I used an Excel spreadsheet. It's on a computer or whether it's on your phone, just to keep track of what you're looking for. You don't have to use Excel. You can just use Notepad in your phone. You can use documents, whatever way you can use just to organize the information so you have it to refer to. So the first things first is the actual search. You go online and you can just go straight to Google and just type in apartments near me or apartments in whatever area that you want to move to. Once you put that search in, then you'll have some options of different websites that will guide you through your apartment search. So for example, there's apartments.com, you have Trillia, you have rent.com, you have those different options of search engines. So once you click on one of the search engines, let's say apartments.com, that's when you'll put in your main filter. So usually it's going to be the monthly rent. That's going to be the biggest factor. So once you filter the price, that's when you scroll down and you'll see the names of the apartment complexes. So that's the first thing you want to note. Once you see a complex that interests you, you want to click on it, note the name of that complex. Alright, so the next thing that you want to note is the address. And that's usually going to be right under the complex name. So note that address and put it in the address column of your spreadsheet. Alright, now we're going back to the amount of the monthly rent that you're going to have to pay for the place. So usually that's right at the top of the page, right underneath the other 2 items, you're going to see the amount of rent that is going to cost to live in that apartment, the base rent. So that's something that you definitely want to note, and you definitely want to filter, as I mentioned before, so you're only getting apartments that are within your budget, because that's very important. So another thing you really want to find out and note are whether or not the apartment includes utilities, or which utilities they include. Most apartments, they'll have some form of utilities that is included within the rent, but then there is a separate amount that you may have to pay on your own that's not included. So the main utilities usually include either gas, hot water, water, and heat or electricity. So those are the things that you have to make sure to see whether or not the apartment includes it, because that ties into the amount of money that you have to pay monthly and what you're gonna have to go forward and sign up for to make sure you have those things turned on when you do move in. Alright, so the next thing that you want to note is the application fee. So application fees vary, and they're usually a fee that you pay for the complex or the apartment, the building, to run usually a background check, they'll run a credit check. So they'll use the money that you provide for that. And this can vary from each apartment, so that's why that's something you want to note, so you know how much is the application fee for each of the apartments that you're looking at. So they can range between $20 to, I've seen $50 application fees, so you want to make sure you note that. All right, the next one is the security deposit. Some listings will tell you what the security deposit is, but not all do. So this is something you may have to call about to get that information, but you do want to know how much the security deposit is going to be. So what a security deposit is basically an amount of money. Usually it may equal the first month's rent. So if $1,000 is first month's rent, usually you have to also pay $1,000 in security deposits as well. So it may be $2,000 before you can get into your apartment. And what the security deposit does is it secures the apartment, it takes it off the market so that they know that you have the money to be able to secure to get that place. And they also use that money in the case that damages are done to the apartment. So if you were to leave that apartment after the 12-month lease, they can use that money to fix any damages that are done to the apartment, or to update or fix or paint the walls or patch up anything that may need to be patched up that was caused during your stay in that apartment. So if you keep your apartment nice and how you left it when you got in for the most part, then there will be a higher chance that you'll get your security deposit back once or if you decide to leave that complex. So the next thing that's important to note is the unit details. So the unit details is basically whether it's a studio, whether it's a 1-2 bedroom, how many bathrooms it has. You can note, oh, this one has a large kitchen, or this one has a smaller bedroom, this one only has a shower, while this one has a tub. So you can just put the details of the actual apartment that you're referring to, so you know when you're looking back at the spreadsheet what you're looking at and what apartment had what, and to see if it's something that you're interested in. All right, so another thing that you want to note that I would say is quite important is the commute. So if you have to commute to work on a daily basis, it's going to be important to see what your commute is going to look like to the potential apartment that you're going to be moving into. So what I would do is just simply take the address of the apartment that you're looking at and then put it in Google Maps and then put the address of your work location just to see how long it's going to take to get to work. So that is very important. You want to make sure you have a reasonable commute for you, because that's something that you're going to have to commit to on a regular basis. Obviously, if you work from home, that's something that you won't have to worry about. But if you're going in, even if it's a couple days a week, you want to know how far you're going to be traveling to get to work from your new place. All right, so the next thing is parking. So I got myself in a little situation when it comes to parking and figuring out the parking. So don't be like me. Make sure you know where you need to park your car. Whether it's street parking, if you have to park on the street, whether they give you a lot to park in, whether they give you a garage as an option, whether it's paid, unpaid, covered or not, you want to make sure you have that information. And usually if they offer parking, some places do charge monthly for parking, so you want to get that information too. It's important to know. If you guys want to check out that story time, I'll have the video pop up on this side so you can see that. So the next thing that I decided to look into is the crime in the area that I may have potentially been moving into during my apartment search. So there's a website that you can use. So I used that website to give me an idea of what the crime may have been looking like in that area. So that's important because especially if you're moving out on your own, if you're a female and you're moving out on your own, safety is quite important. It was for me, so I wanted to make sure that I was moving into an area that I felt like I can be safe in, even if it's at night and I'm walking from my car to my building or whatever the case may be. So some additions to the spreadsheet that you may want to add as well is if you do have pets, a dog or cat, and you want to obviously take them along with you, you gotta make sure you're looking at apartments that accept pets. Not all apartments accept pets. So that's a big thing if you have a pet that you want to be sure of and something that you want to note. So usually you can find this on the website as well, but if not, again, get the contact information for the complex you're interested in so you can find out that information. There can be a monthly fee for the pets, so you want to note that, and usually there is a first initial deposit that you have to put down for the pet, and then there's a monthly fee that you have to pay. So you want to know what those numbers are going to be. So I then created a column in my spreadsheet for whether I took a tour. And before you're moving into the potential place you're thinking of, you want to make sure that you take a tour and see the place in person. So also put that on your spreadsheet so you can note that you took the tour or not. And once you take the tour, you can also put a column for notes so you can put what your experience was with that tour, some things that stood out to you, whether it be positive or negative, and make sure you note that so you can reference it. And finally, at least for this list, you can also put the contact information. So I created another column for contact information. You can put the name of the website, the phone number, the email address to contact the complex, just in case you have any questions that were not answered on the website. You can use that column there. So yeah guys, that brings us to the end of this video. I hope this was helpful when it comes to your search to be able to narrow down, organize, and keep track of the apartments you're going to be looking at. If you find this video helpful, you can leave a little like, to let me know, or definitely subscribe if you want to see more content like this, kind of me sharing tips on what I learned during my journey of moving out, adulting, budgeting, living inexpensively below your means, all of those things. So make sure you subscribe down below for more, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.